Good morning. Let me introduce myself. My name is Vladimir Simon, and here's my colleague, Denisa. Lachmanova. We're both from the Czech Republic, and we're from the capital, Prague. Both of us have been involved in a project under the National Pedagogical Institute. Before starting our presentation proper, I would like to sincerely thank Alte for the invitation to present here. And we're very happy with this opportunity and for the opportunity to also present in sign language. So my colleague and I were part of a larger team in the National Pedagogical Institute the Institute has several projects translating or adapting the Sefer and adapting it for the Czech language. This started in 2017. In 2019, the first project actually started. Instead of 5 years, which was originally envisioned, we had a 3-year project duration, during which we composed a team of 30 to 40 people, hearing people, deaf people, and within the project team, and the project duration, 2019 till 2022, we've been working on towards two main objectives. First of all, as you can see here, here's a picture of two publications. If you look at the yellow one from ProSign, we wanted to apply and translate the ProSign for Czech Sign Language, and we wanted to create one new document, reference level descriptors of Czech Sign Language for levels A1 till B2. We have 3 publications that were the result of our project. They're all published in written Czech, and summaries will be translated, but I'll come back to that later on. Here are the 3 publications. The first of all was the framework of reference for sign languages. I mentioned the ProSign project before. We took the ProSign results and expanded on the outcome and made it a richer framework of reference for sign languages. And a similar approach could be taken in other countries. They could look at how we've adapted and expanded on the ProSign outcomes. However, it's available in written Czech only, not in English, unfortunately. The second publication is the descriptors of Czech Sign Language in Sefer terms for levels A1 to B2. It explains in depth, very clearly, how what knowledge learners need to acquire for the levels A1 until B2. And this reference level descriptor of Czech Sign Language for levels A1 until B2 can be used by anyone, by sign language teachers. A For example, it clearly outlines what people on A1 level should be able to talk about, what kind of knowledge they should have. In terms of, it can also be used up to university level for sign language teaching. And also for evaluation of learner outcomes. Unfortunately, this is available in Czech only as well. And the third publication is a glossary, because there's quite a lot of jargon in the first two publications, which are not common data, everyday terms. And the glossary explains the jargon in more easily accessible language. And we hope that the glossary will help people use the first two publications. Next slide. Apart from the three publications, paper publications, we also have prepared a website, because we felt it was important to have the information in sign language as well, so that also deaf teachers, the deaf community, and learners can access the information available in the publications. So here's the website. The content of all three publications has been translated into Czech Sign Language. And we've done the sign language translation, high quality, but we've done it per chapter. And of course, there were time restrictions. We had videos of a duration of maximum 5 minutes each. We also added to our website a summary of the content of the website in English and in international sign. Because our team really wants to make our work available to people in other countries who are also undergoing the same journey of applying this effort to national sign languages, and we believe our website can really contribute to their work. Here's a short timeline of how the CEFR itself and our work are interrelated. If you look at the blue boxes, CEFR was created in 2001, the first version, and has been updated in 2018 and 2020. We have been using the 2018 version. In the green box, you see the CEFR translation for spoken Czech. There's a team created descriptions for spoken Czech, level A1 till B2 as well. And their work's been published as well. In the red boxes, how the CEFR was applied or translated to sign language, sign languages. The ProSign was a European project, started in 2015. Translation into written Czech, 2016. Then the last bottom red box was the Swiss team. Actually, Thomas Hout, the previous speaker, was involved in that work on communication competences. And this was very useful for us, because the blue boxes, the original CEFR and the 2018 updates, were really geared towards spoken languages. And the Swiss team managed to translate the CEFR in terms of communication competences for sign languages, and we've heavily leaned on their work. So we've used the Swiss outcomes. We've used and all this, whatever is in the green boxes, the blue boxes, and the red boxes, we've used as input for our work. Briefly, within our research team, we were in a wider network of project teams. We had a team of authors, of creators, 6 linguists, 3 deaf and 3 hearing. Then we had the research team, gathering data and providing feedback to our work. We also had to give our draft outcomes to several experts who gave us feedback. We redrafted, it went back and forth a few times, and then we brought it to the feedback team. Who could ask for clarification, make comments, and within the feedback team, there were people with expertise on validating tests. So that team gave us comments, and at the end of the process, we had an agreed result, which we brought to the team of editors, and the final step was to translate it and put it out, upload it on the website. So it was not an easy job, with a lot of time constraints, deadlines to be met. And as I said in the beginning, originally projects like ours had a 5-year duration. We had to do it in 3 years. We had to compose a team. It was a multilingual team. So there were a lot of unforeseen roadblocks. It was not an easy process, but we're very proud of the results. Over to you, Denisa.
I don't know. Yeah, thank you. Now I want to talk about the methodology and our problems we are struggling with, but I think we successfully did, and it was great, or the final outcomes are really awesome. The first thing is that sign languages have no codification, or at least Czech Sign Language has no codification. There are some descriptions, there are surveys, there are some papers, researches, but there is no one grammar book, no one official dictionary. Or there are some, but they are only focused on one topic, for example, on family, kinship relationships, or for numbers, or how to make questions, but there are no complex grammars. So there is the first thing all sign language linguists have to deal with. The second one, very important, we were thinking about, or everyone is thinking about it, sign languages don't have written form. So if you describe sign language, you have to use written form of a spoken language. But it's not always the best way how to describe language in another language. So the best way is to have videos and to see sign language production in sign language. But if you want to share your information with hearing people, you need some written text. So there was another point that is difficult, and we have to think about it. And the last point is that there is a low number of deaf academics. In Czech Republic, we try to join all deaf academics that are to our project. And we would be happier if we had more, but that's a pity that there is a little number of deaf. And we would like the community would be bigger and more deaf people could have academic education and academic titles. Something that occurs during our project and process, and my colleague has already mentioned it, that we were a multilingual team. We used Czech language, Czech Sign Language, also English, because we read a lot of English papers, and we had a lot of online meetings, sessions with our colleagues from Germany and other countries. So during our process and team, we had to use interpreters because not all people know Czech Sign Language. There are hearing experts on a CFR, but they do not understand Czech Sign Language. So during our project, it was really multilingual communication, and sometimes we need to be aware of some maybe communication gaps that could happen. The really, really important point is that we created a special text which is highly academic style. It's difficult for everyone to read the text because it's full of special CFR terminology. That means you have to know what descriptor means, how the scales are formed, and so on. And this, our text, is translated into Czech Sign Language, and also this outcome, the sign language, should be in the academic style. But who knows how the academic style looks like in sign language? It's really new field to create this type of text. So we have the text in sign languages, the videos, but we will see how the users will evaluate or how they will understand and work with these videos, because they are also difficult. As for us, for hearing, it's difficult to read the text. Also for the deaf users, it's difficult to watch the videos and understand what's going on, because it's so special with the terminology that we need to work with and deal with. The first outcome, the framework of reference for sign language, you can read the names of chapters. Just I want to mention that the cover page was also is beautiful because it's designed and creative, and I want to thank to our deaf colleague who did this. It's a photo of a sign that is for CFR sign. So we use this for our cover page. So the main points are that we created completely new scales and descriptors. We had a really big inspiration in ProSign, but we have to revisit it and create new forms and new phrases that we can then continue working with. We also wanted that our communication situation, like the illustrative communication scales, are really based on real communication, how hearing and deaf people communicate, what topics or in which situation they are. And all our material was verified by hearing and deaf people. So we had 2 groups who went through our materials, who gave us comments, what to change, how they work with the text, with the materials, with the videos. So also we know thanks to this group of deaf colleagues, that the videos and the translation into Czech Sign Language is difficult to comprehend. Yeah, we know it, but it's the type of the text. Shortly, you can see a scale from pro sign, and on the right side, our new scale that you can see it's a little bit longer. We added plus levels because in companion volume, they are the plus levels, so we are inspired from the newest material companion volume, so we added plus levels, and also we added pre-A1 level. Again, like in pro sign, there was one plus level, the gray line or the gray box, so we added the plus level as is in companion volume.
How are we doing for time? Okay. 3 more minutes. As I mentioned before, we have 3 publications, and I want to look more into the second one at the moment. How Zephyr was adapted for Czech Sign Language. It contains of 5 chapters. The first one is kind of an introduction of how the publication can be used. It explains the background of Zephyr. The second one provides some basic information about sign languages, in our case, Czech Sign Language, about the modality, the visual nature. It's very basic information for non-sign language users, learners, and also language teachers, to make them aware that the instruction, assuming that the teacher, the sign language instructor, is deaf and the learners are hearing, the teaching, well, chapter 2 provides some basic information that the teachers need to have and apply when teaching L2 sign language learners. Chapter 3 looks more into the grammar and sign vocabulary. As an example, it explains the use of classifiers in Czech Sign Language, what they look like, how they're used, and what's the appropriate level by which learners are supposed to be able to use classifiers, which classifier should be mastered by level 8.1 or 8.2, which classifiers are appropriate for B1 or B2. And if the sign language teachers want to assess the skills of their students, they can use this book as a frame of reference. The next chapter looks into the social and cultural aspects of the deaf community. What does the deaf community look like? How was it organized? What kind of associations are there? It looks into the heterogeneity of the deaf community, which is all useful background information for hearing learners. And the final chapter looks at communication issues. And let me see if I can pull up the slide. It looks into the 14 different topics which are derived from the Zephyr 2018 publication. And these 14 themes have all been translated into level A1 up until B2. And it describes the minimum amount learners should know. For example, by level A, at the end of A1, the learner needs to be able to ask for the conversation partner's name. Very, very basic, very simple. On A2 level, the knowledge and the skills become more extensive. But I see we've come to the end of our presentation, but before I end, one last comment. In the sign vocabulary, we have organized the vocabulary according to themes that are relevant for deaf people's lives, rather than going theme by theme. Back to you, Denisa.
So that's all from our presentation. We just want to show what we did and inspire our colleagues and linguists of sign languages to do something similar, to start a project describing their sign languages and to maybe create some international project, because we want to continue in this work, but we do not have any foundation, we do not have money, so we can't do anything. And we will be very, very happy if in your countries some project could be created and we could be part of the project. So thank you.